I am speechless. Today feels unreal. I feel like I'm in a dream. After so many years, after waiting, after hoping, after bleeding, it's finally time. It's finally here. The Dandadan Anime. I don't even know where to start. What do I even say about this? That it's perfect? That it's everything that I imagined? That it's everything that I wanted? That it's everything that I hoped and dreamt for? It's putting it lightly. If you don't know why I'm so excited about this, I have been following this story personally for years before it had an English translation, because it did not have one at the beginning. There was no real reason why I was following it other than the fact that I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was unique. I thought it was special. And for the longest, I was scared that it wouldn't get translated, that it wouldn't survive, because what it was trying to do and the story that it was telling wasn't really resonating with people like that. It wasn't a big hit straight from the jump. That is old history now. It got translated, it continued to thrive, it got really popular, and now we're, almost 200 chapters later and absolutely thriving. And that's just the manga front. We finally have an anime, and by a very, very incredible studio, a passionate studio, saru. The last thing I watched from them, I believe, was Scott Pilgrim. I'm not like a huge fan of Scott Pilgrim, but I really enjoyed what they done with that. So when I heard that they were doing the Dandadan Anime, you best believe I was locked in. All the worries that I had, all of the concerns, all the missteps that one can take with the anime production and the industry being so difficult and tumultuous and horrifying for all of the creators involved, funny enough, were kind of laid to rest. I know saru can cook, and I knew that they would do Dandadan justice. And with a story that's so creative and chaotic and over the top so consistently, my breath was held for a long time. It looked like the impossible, even for Saru. But when I seen that first teaser, when I seen the style that they were going for, the music, the animation, just the bits and pieces they were dropping, they sold it. They tied it off. Any troubles that you had, any worries that you had, gone. This is a hard story to get right, a hard story to keep consistent because there is so much going on. And it's safe to say that right now, after episode 1, they've already nailed it at the park. Like, I don't think that they will make any mistakes with this show, and that's probably being way too optimistic, but realistically, this episode was perfect. From the opening to the ending to everything in between, absolute perfection. Visually, animation, creativity, color palette is gorgeous and vibrant, everything was fluid and just beautiful to look at and experience. The sound design was amazing, the voice acting was amazing, the vibe and atmosphere was impeccable. What more could you want? I think the only negative that you could probably take from this episode, and this is kind of cherry picking, is that it doesn't really flow well. And I think that's actually just the fault of the manga itself, is because it just dumps you into the world, it just dumps you into the characters. It's not inherently a bad thing, it's not going to ruin your experience, but you might take a moment or two to catch up and just be like, wait, whoa, okay, this character, that character, we're here, right? This is a very rapid story. It kind of flows through things quickly, and it never loses sight of itself. It never trips over itself. So even if you do think it's incredibly fast or incredibly abrupt, don't worry, you'll never lose sight of it. That is hands down, genuinely, probably the only slight negative that I can think of, and that's cherry picking. I personally didn't find it to be a problem, but others might. Let me start with the opening, because they cooked. What was the studio? What was the band that done this? Crazy Nuts, Crunchy Nuts, Spooky Nuts? I don't remember the name, I'm sorry. It's something nuts, right? They cooked. They done a great job. Honestly, bravo to them. I think they're also the same people that do the Mashal opening, which that too was also incredibly addicting and popular. I could be just way off the mark and wrong, so please correct me, but I love this opening. I love the sound. I love the vibe to it. It's super catchy. Honestly, worth watching every single week. A lot of people like to skip past openings, but I think that sets the tone really well. I don't think there is any other way, to any other degree, that you could capture a vibe so perfectly. And visually, why are they going so hard in the opening? It was gorgeous, absolutely stunning, crisp character design, super vibrant, beautiful color work, everything about it. It's nice to see it all come together so naturally, so beautifully, so perfectly. And you're gonna hear me say perfect a lot, because honestly it is, like, just genuinely, I'm glazing. If you don't know anything about Dandadan and you've just sat here the whole time hearing me jerk off this story, obviously, 1, I really enjoy it. I love it. But 2, hear me out. Dandadan at its barest is about aliens and spirits and all of the things surrounding those 2 subjects, right? Then you have a boy who is obsessed with aliens and doesn't believe in spirits, and a girl that is connected closely with spirits and doesn't believe in aliens. What do you think would happen when these 2 cross paths? They're almost like polar opposites in a way. Well, they get entangled together and try to prove a point. So they send each other to different locations. This girl is now searching for aliens who she doesn't believe in, and this boy is searching for spirits and ghosts. He don't believe in them either. But wouldn't you know, they come in contact with said beings, and it just spirals out of control. It just gets crazy. That boy, he gets possessed by a very old grandma who can run incredibly fast. Think the Flash, but like 95 years old. It's kind of scary. And then that girl, she gets abducted by aliens from a different planet who are here to try and reproduce. Basically, they're sick of cloning themselves because they're losing all of their original traits, so they're trying to figure out how to reproduce with humans, take their vital organs on some weird stuff. In the process of all of this, that girl, she awakens some psychic abilities that's part of her bloodline. So the best way to describe it is that she's able to use these kind of invisible force hands to manipulate everything around her and suppress people's energy or chi, right? And then our boy is possessed by that old said Flash grandmother. They're kind of fighting for the same body. Obviously the grandmother really powerful, but the boy is trying his best to stay afloat. So for now, they're actually able to help each other. Our girl's able to suppress him with her newfound abilities, and he is able to try and tap into it to use it to his advantage. This is just the beginning, and no spoilers, but it builds up very, very rapidly into much crazier things. It will introduce many spirits that you've heard about, and even aliens that you've heard about. The amount of things that you can do with said aliens and spirits is completely crazy, and this story is proof that with the right amount of balancing, the right amount of finesse, you can actually make it work incredibly well. Because everything is incredibly chaotic, the animation needs to be on point. It needs to channel that vibe, that aura, that energy. And does it do it? Yes. It does, 100%, all the way through from start to finish, and I think it will with the supposed 24 episodes that we're getting. So this season is only listed for 12, I believe, but I do think it is a 2-core season. I could be wrong, please correct me if official information comes out, and that we will be getting another 12 episodes later on down the line. Not this year, maybe next year. This would make the most sense with a lot of the promotional material that they've already showcased taking place later on within the story. It would be very difficult for them to actually fit into the first 12 episodes. Certain characters, certain events, certain creatures, aliens, spirits, etc. Stuff that they have shown officially. Don't get me wrong, it is all fun and games. It's a great show, it's beautiful. The amount of work and talent that has gone into everything that they're currently producing, especially that ending being just straight vibes all the way through. Nothing all too crazy or serious, but seeing that cat, which no one has the context for, but you will eventually, is really nice. It all kind of comes full circle nicely. I will say this story is a lot more thought-provoking than you think, and without spoiling anything, I genuinely think you will be surprised. There's a lot of moments that you will see throughout this season and beyond that will actually surprise you, that you wouldn't think would be in this narrative. This story is very beautifully handled. Obviously, it is incredibly chaotic, but there's a sense of genuineness to it. There is a charm to it. There's a subtle, sensitive atmosphere to it that is wonderfully woven between all of these characters. The chemistry, the humor, the relatability, these are wonderfully handled characters, and how they all come together, how they all mesh, how they all thrive, and how they emotionally respond to one another is beautiful. There is a dense amount of texture, and this story only continues to get better and better, and to open your eyes to much bigger things, much more emotionally heavy and taxing things. Seeing how they've handled this first episode, seeing the voice work, the music, the animation, the colors, everything that they are doing creatively, beautifully, masterfully, bringing everything to life. All of this talent and hard work paying off exponentially makes me so excited to see some of these bigger moments come to life. How hard they hit, how deep they hit, and how long that they will linger in your mind. If you have not watched Dandadan, if you haven't read Dandadan, please do. Do yourself that favor, that luxury, that self-care. Watch it, read it, indulge within it. I promise you, you won't regret it. You will fall in love with its charm, with its chemistry, with its characters, with its world, with its identity. There is no story on the market currently that is doing what it does to such a level on a weekly basis. And this anime is only the beginning. Popularity from here is going to skyrocket, and I for one am curious to see just how high it all truly goes.